Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jim McDaniel with URL Insurance Group. Thanks for joining us today for our new Commission System Portal webinar. We'll go over some overview and updates. On the call with us today, I have Brandy Coleman, our Director of Commissions, and Chris Bauman, our software developer, and we'll all kind of jump in throughout this webinar to give you some input on some things as we kind of go through these slides. Just so I can be sure that everybody can hear me, if you could raise your hand on the control panel that you have on your screen, let me know. All right, thanks Amber and Bill and everybody else. David, thank you. So I'll go ahead and get going here. So the first thing that we'll kind of do is kind of an overview and history of how we got to where we're at with the current commission system. Brandy will kind of cover what it processes, what it pays. We'll all kind of discuss some of the new features that we have built into the system over the last year and a half or plus. We also will discuss some coming features that we'll be implementing in 2019. We have an example of an audit that we ran that helped discover one of the carrier's issues that many of you on this call will be familiar with from a couple months back. We also have a new tool that we're going to roll out today on this webinar, which is our commission payment tracker, which will allow you to see where we're at with any of the carriers at any time. And we're also kind of changing up how we go about paying you, and Brandy will kind of cover some of that here in a couple minutes. And then as we go through this webinar today, if you have a question on anything, go ahead and send those over as we go through it. We'll do some question and answer at the end. I'll reread all your questions aloud, and then we can try and answer them as best we can. So how do we got to where we're at? For many years, we had an outside company that we used to help us process and pay commissions. We then began to develop our own commission system, and we worked for several years with a developer who wasn't an employee, he wasn't in our state, and we realized we needed something better. We needed to move this to a newer system. So we did a whole bunch of research towards the end of about a year ago now, on is there a system out there that we could buy out of the box software that would help process this for us and do all the different carriers that we need to process and pay on. And after interviewing a bunch of different companies and doing a bunch of research, we found some that were close and some that could do some things, but we realized that we needed to bring it in-house. We needed a person that could do that, and that person ended up being Chris Bauman, our developer that we hired. He's an on-site employee here. He has many years of software development. He in the financial services industry and many other industries, and he really has, since bringing him on, we've developed the system to what we need it to do, what our agents need it to do, and being able to jump through the hoops that the carriers throw at us. And that's what Brandy's going to kind of discuss here in the next segment.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jim. Thank you all for joining us. I am so excited to have you all here and to be able to speak about this. We have some great features and an incredible system that our developer, Chris Bauman, has created. So I cannot thank you all enough for joining us. With that being said, I wanted to focus on a key word, customization. As Jim had mentioned, we needed a system that can adapt, and that couldn't be any more true. We experience inconsistencies on a monthly basis from our carriers. I have been here for almost 6 years, and I have not had one single month of processing out our commission payments where we received information from a carrier accurately so that is able to funnel through our system and process smoothly without any errors or any hiccups along the way. So with that being said, Chris was able to develop a format, one single format that is conducive to any changes in format that a carrier will send. They can send it in a CSV file, an Excel format, and not only that, they will omit certain information, or they won't provide the columns and pertinent information that we need in order for our system to process it smoothly through. And when we don't get that accurate information and it's incorrect, it blows up the system. And then we have to start from the beginning. And at that point, it's too late to notify the carrier of any of the errors that this has caused, because we're on hard deadlines. So with this new format and new information and new system that Chris has developed, it has helped process our commissions smoothly and accurately on a month-to-month basis through our new system. So on this next slide, you will see a list of all of the carriers that we process and pay through our current commission system. Carriers from Capital Blue Cross, Highmark, Geisinger, United Concordia, and UPMC and Vibra.
Another part of the system another payment and statement that the commission system processes and pays is the Orion referral. So if you refer business to us, you'll be able to see Orion referral statements within there. Coming this year as a new feature, if you're a Gemini agent and you earn Gemini bonuses, when we pay those, the statements for the Gemini bonuses will be included in that commission system area as well. To talk about some of the other new features that we have, part of bringing Chris on and part of it educating us on modern systems and architecture developed commission systems like we have, Chris he uses modern architecture and industry standard practices in the financial industry to create and process these different software that he develops. Which gives us more accuracy and speed to process. I would say we're able to process things significantly faster than we have been historically. The other thing that Chris kind of brought to us was a thing called unit testing. We thought this was important to kind of talk about how we develop the software that we use, and part of it's incremental testing so when Chris changes and develops new software, there's no surprises. And Brandy's going to give kind of a little example of how that works in the real world and how we use that.
Yes, thank you, Jim. We are using the unit testing. What Chris does is he will write code. And a good example of this would be an Orion payment. Orion payments aren't funneled through the normal commission processing, and they're entered in at different percentages or rates. So he has to go in and he has to enter special code for this for it to process through the commission system. And as he's doing this, at the same time, his code is being tested and will error out if anything is not entered properly, which we absolutely love, and we think that's the coolest thing because there's not going to be any errors, and it's going to process accurately, and it's going to pay out those Orion payments correctly, and we will have no surprises when payment is released, and everything will be accurate.
Okay. And some of the other new features?
Our next slide shows more new features that we will be adding. Our red flagging system, which will show any percent and change in any commission payments, anything that is not paying correctly, is not coming from the carrier in the correct rate as it's supposed to be, any missed payments, any non-payment, and again, as we mentioned previously, it will capture any change in formatting so that we can process through the commission system properly. And on this slide, it just speaks about monthly generated audits that we're going to also add as a new feature to check all of the carrier data that they're sending over to us. And as we're doing these monthly audits, it's going to find any errors, and we're going to be able to go back to the carrier, let them know what we found, and find any discrepancies even before our agents find them so that we can get it corrected and then pay it out correctly to all of our agents. Another feature that I just spoke about was the audits. We have an example of this. With one of our recent payments, a Pennsylvania health carrier notified us that there was an error in a commission payment that we received, and we were notified that they retracted payments on some of our to some of our agents that should not have been retracted. So in the meantime, we were able to, with our new commission system, to perform our own audit, and Chris was able to generate reports for us from the commission system, pull all that information out. We were able to compare that to what the carrier provided us and to how they informed us how it would be corrected, and he created comparison tables for us. And as we were going through and doing that review, it was discovered that payments were made at incorrect rates. So then we were able to bring that to the carrier's attention, and we exposed this issue across the board for them because they were not aware of it at all. And this also helped other FMOs that they work directly with as well to capture this issue. And this then forced them to do an internal audit, which in turn carried over into another commission payout for another month, where then they were able to make all of the corrections.
Okay. Some of the other coming features that you'll start to see in 2019, some of it will happen on the back end, but it should just mean faster processing and more accurate data for you, which is many of the systems we have been developed independently, our commission system, Salesforce, our CRM, our contracting system. So what we're really working towards in 2019 is to bring those systems together, a unified data structure where all these systems talk to each other, everything's on the same page, it's more accurate, more real-time production, and that includes, you know, the commission systems and all the other systems that we work with, up into how you access a lot of that, which is through our website. Another coming feature in 2019, which we think is pretty neat, is deep learning. We're going to start to use artificial intelligence to find payment discrepancies. A lot of those red flag things that we do either via reports and things like that will now get looked at by some of the deep learning architecture that Chris is going to talk about here with us quickly to give us some background on what that is and how it kind of works.
Yeah, we started using a framework. It was originally developed by Google called TensorFlow. It's one of the things that we started using in the system. It allows computer systems to progressively improve performance on like a given task. Deep learning algorithms, it builds a mathematical model of sample data that we can call training data to allow the computer to better make predictions, or the application to make better predictions and decisions without us specifically or explicitly programming that in. With the commission system, it'll allow us to determine things like if an agent got paid, if they were getting paid every month for a case and they should have been paid for the current month, but we're not seeing it in the feed, or it'll be able to easier recover from a carrier switching the order of columns in a particular feed when we're loading it, being able to identify what a column means, like, oh, this is supposed to be a policy number, and it'll able to recover from that quicker, allowing us to spend a lot more time improving other things, which kind of helps everybody.
All right, great, Chris. Thanks a lot. So with version 2.0, which will roll out probably towards the middle of the year, maybe Q2, Q3 of this year, we'll have a new look. A lot of the founding structure of the system has been redone in the background, and a lot of the outside skin of it looks different. So at some point when you log in, and we'll certainly have an announcement about it, but we'll have a new look to it. There'll be more data that you'll be able to see more than ever before. Another option that we'll have is the ability to receive a text message for carriers you specify when a payment is received. So, you know, we typically send out emails now automatically. You'll have the option to opt in to receive text messages down the road if you'd like that. So now we have our commission payment tracker.
Yes,
Brandy,
this is something I'm so excited to speak about. Another new feature that is just going to be so beneficial, and I think will make such a difference to all of our agents. And this is something I think all of you will be very interested in. In the past, we have been paying on one business day, which is the last business day of each month. You know, we had a problem where payments and statements from the carriers, they were all coming on different days. So that would force us to pay it on one day, once a month, to streamline that. Well, now we're noticing that a lot of the carriers are sending over the information as well as the direct deposit within a few days of, of receiving that information to process through and that direct deposit, then we can pay it out. So rather than pay the last business day of each month, as we receive that information, the formats from all of the carriers to process, we thought we would be able to process on the fly now. So we'll be able to process and pay the carrier commissions on the fly. And with this tracker, we can set service levels for the processing time. So you can go on there and you can view when it will be paid, the direct deposit dates, and when we receive that information, and the exact date that you will be receiving that payment from us. So it will no longer be the last business day of each month. It will be throughout the month and much earlier than expected. So, Jim, I don't know if you want to go on with your demo, because this is going to be hosted, and you all can view this on your URL page and on the commission page on our site.
Yep, I'll switch over to that. Okay, so from our home page here, if you log in, you can either, or you don't have to log in yet, but if you go to Aries or Gemini, whatever route you go, we'll just go through the Aries here. Once I get logged in, if I come up to the top and I mouse over departments and then come down to commissions and I click on that, at the top here you'll see where you can link in to get your commission statements. If you have some kind of commission payment issue, this is really the best place for you to start, alerting Brandy and her team to research any of those problems. There's a direct deposit form for newer agents that we haven't begun to pay yet. And then below this is live on our site now. The data for the purpose of this webinar isn't 100% accurate. We have some things in here just for demonstration purposes, but pretty soon here in the next day, it will be up to date and as accurate as we can make it. And you'll kind of see here from within this, you can scroll down and see all the different carriers we had talked about. So for instance, we'll take Aetna Small Group, for example. The status is currently paid. We received all the files and money that we need to turn it around on the 20th. We expected to pay that on the 31st, and we did in fact pay it on that day. So you can come to this page at any point. Everybody in our company will know this is here. All our agents will be able to access this at any time after you log in, and then you can see, if something is pending and what's going on with it. And then by the odd chance that things might be delayed, that will be noted in here too. Typically, if anything's delayed for any reason, we would send an email out in addition to that too. But this is a live thing that you can always go to. This is updated in real time on the fly as we receive, pay, and process commissions. So this would be a really, hopefully, good thing to bring more transparency and accuracy and information to the people that we work with. So that was under departments, and then commissions. You can also get to it from under agent resources, and then if you go to My URL Agent Center and you click that, you'll see the links that you probably are familiar with: ability to check your cases, check your commissions, check your contracts, and then this new button that we added, check commission status. And when I click on that, it's going to pop open a new window, which jumps us into this system. It's the same chart, just kind of can see it a little bit larger here. You'll notice this is a new tab for this at the top. We have our production report that's always been in there, carrier contracting information. This is just a test agent, so there's not real data against it. And then where you'd go to get your commission statements. In version 2.0 sometime this year, when we reskin this and this has changed, that'll be kind of the next version, and we'll add a lot more information in here than we've had in the past. Let me switch back. All right, so I think that's it. Was that it on the commission tracker, Brandy? Do you have anything else to add on that?
Yes, nope, that is it, Jim. Thanks.
Okay. All right, so we're at our question and answer time. Let's see what we've got here. So Aaron asks, will the deposit date still remain on the commission itself? Does that make sense to you, Brandy?
Will it remain on the commission itself? I don't know that I.
Okay, yeah, we may have to follow up with Aaron on that one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that either. Joe asks, on the payment schedule, if we click on a color-coded item like pending or delayed, will it offer us an explanation? That's a great idea, Joe. And we talked about some more description on that. And maybe that is something that we can add, so you mouse over and it pops up. We thought of a couple of different ideas on how much explanation we needed to put in there, but maybe a mouse over pop-up or something like that would be a good solution. So that's a great idea, suggestion, Joe. I thank you for that. Okay, here's a question from Tim. I don't know that you see, it's a good one. When commission payments are credited to my bank checking account, the credits are not identified which carrier they are from. It only says ACH credit. Anyway, all the individual carrier payments can be identified when they are credited to my bank account. Well, that's a great idea. I don't have the answer to that, Brandy. I'm not sure if you would or not, but we can make a note for sure and see if the bank could help out with that.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll speak to accounting as well to see what they can do on their end to have the bank work with us on that for sure.
Okay. All right, so George asks, my Aetna small group is paid directly to me now. How will the new tracker system help me? It really wouldn't. If you're being paid directly from Aetna, then it's not something that flows through our office. So it's really the tracker in what they pay are from carriers that pay us a lump sum, provide us a statement. Brandy and her team process it, and then it goes through, right? That would be the correct
yes,
correct
that's correct. Unfortunately, in order to track any commissions that are paid direct to you and not through URL, we're usually unable to assist with that. And if we inquire through one of them, through one of the carriers, they won't tell us that information, and they want the agent to go to them direct in order to get that detail. So
I will say
we usually can only speak on what we pay. So
yeah, I will say with some of the more integration, I talked about the unified data systems and things like that. Some of the integration that we're going to have with Salesforce in the commission system moving forward will help us identify some of those things. So while it won't show up on the tracker, there will be more data for you to kind of be able to view. Tracy, Happy New Year to you as well. So Tracy asks, will you be able to pull the commission statements from the home page that you had shown? Will it offer you the list of clients that will be paying out? So you'll be able to pull the statements, but I'm not sure it gets that deep. Brandy?
You can pull the statement, and on the statement, it will show the client information, the policy number, the effective date, and the amount that you're being paid.
Right, within the statement.
Within the statement itself, yes.
Right. All right, so Gina asks, payment schedule. On the fly, does that mean we might see more payment throughout the month and not all at the end of the month?
That's correct, yes. You will see some of those payments come earlier than the last business day of every month. So, yes.
Yep, and I would say probably for some carriers, I mean, if we got something at the beginning of the month and we had a lot of time to process it, we wouldn't pay it till the end of the month. But now that would change to be where, you have your service level of 7 business days or 10 business days or whatever it is. Probably people would be getting paid quicker than we had traditionally done, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Much quicker. So.
Okay. What CRM system will be made available? Sean asked that. We don't currently have a CRM system available. There's some works in the Medicare department on a CRM system that will be offered to some agents moving forward. But the CRM system that I mentioned in the webinar is Salesforce that we use here internally at URL. Mario asks, is it possible to complete an audit for the last 6 months or so, since the technology seems to be able to sift through data very quickly? Brandy?
Yes, absolutely. We're going to be able to go back on any past data. We could go from a week to 6 months prior. So all of that information is tracked in our system and traceable, and something that we can go back and audit. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. That seems to be all the questions. So thanks for everybody for attending today. Going forward, if you have any commission questions or issues, this is Brandy and Jess Cleary in the commission department. They'll be there to help you out with any questions you may have. Thank you for your business, and hope you have a happy new year, and we look forward to working with you more in 2019.